Welcome back, guys. Man, I am so excited to bring the topic today to you guys. I've heard it a lot from different people, and I think it's just great advice, not only for life in general, but for relationships as well. I actually just recently heard a sermon about it, and it was just so good, but it really does apply to relationships. So I'm really excited to bring it to you guys. But before we begin, if you could like this video, that would be so helpful, because that allows YouTube to go through a lot of my videos, and it just gives support to me in knowing that I'm talking about things you guys care about. And then also, if you want to subscribe, down below, hit the subscribe button with the bell notification. That just lets you guys know when I release new content, and the more subscribers I have, man, the more people can see this, because guys, I really just want to give you the best advice in a relationship. Now, I've had the pleasure of knowing so many different people who've asked me similar questions about these advice, and being able to talk with couples that have really been going through this. So I'm really excited to bring all of that to you guys. Also, leave a comment down below with your questions. I want to know what they are, or just comments that you have in general. I'm excited to read them. I'm excited to see them. And then also, guys, reach out to me. I love to meet new people. I love to talk to people. Reach out to me via social media, which is Instagram or Facebook. I'm looking forward to it, guys. But there's a lot that's going to be in this. So without any more delay, let's jump into today's topic. Expectations. Man, do we all have them or what? And as a matter of fact, infomercials, ads, and all sorts of other things prey on these expectations. And the one I'll use as an example is McDonald's. You know, whenever you watch the ads, the commercials and the ads make the food look so good. If we use the double quarter pounder for an example, the reason I chose that is because I like to eat a lot of food. And typically, that is a lot of food. Or at least via the commercials, it looks like a lot of food. They make the meat look so big and really juicy and nice. And then if you look, the cheese is melting on the sides, and it's making me hungry right now just thinking about it, to be honest. But then the pickles and the onions, man, they look good overall on the sandwich. And even the bun in itself looks way too good to be true. But we all know, when you pull up to that McDonald's and you order that double quarter pounder, it looks nothing like what the commercial made it look like. The meat is usually thin or on the thinner side. The cheese isn't even there sometimes because they didn't put it there, or they missed the order in some way. The onions and pickles don't always look that appetizing, and some people even request for it to come off the food. And the bun usually makes up the majority of the sandwich. And even though right now I'm doing a gym thing where for 75 days I'm not eating any of that stuff, still though, it's still making me hungry right now, and I still know this expectation because I've done it so many times. I don't know about y'all, but usually when I go to McDonald's, I want food and I'm hungry, but I usually leave sadder than when I showed up, because the food that I was expecting didn't meet what the commercial gave me. This is all due to a false sense of expectations. I feel like I was lied to or cheated out of the actual burger I was supposed to receive, because what I received didn't match up with what I was told to look forward to or to expect. As funny as that is, to be honest, I laugh a lot of times just thinking about it. But we do the very same things in relationships. We look at movies, we look at superstars, we look at guys who are dating somebody that is within the famous realm. They usually have a lot of receipts showing that their relationships don't work out. We look at movies such as The Notebook or Pride and Prejudice, or even some of y'all, including me, Deadpool. And we see that the guy is passionately pursuing the girl and going above and beyond what is expected of him. They'll get married or they'll start living together, and then something happens, some sort of drama, because that's what makes the movie a movie. But then they end with happily ever after. And again, the movie ends. We don't see the rest of their life. We don't see the mundane, everyday occurrences. We don't get to see any of that because the movie ends. But our life doesn't. It kind of continues. So am I saying to lose all expectations and to not have any of them and just to settle for whatever guy or girl shows up at your front door? Please don't do that. You know that that would not actually happen, and I wouldn't say that because most definitely we should have some expectations. What I'm saying is the expectations that we have sometimes are given by false reasonings or false people who give what they think is an expectation to have, and that really isn't it. And I mean, at least speaking for the guys, I can't speak for the girls all the time, but when we think of marriage or being with someone permanently, we always think that sex is a huge part of it, and it really isn't. Talk to anyone that's been married for longer than 10, 15 years, or even 5 years. That isn't the case. The girl may be sick. She may not even want it that day, or she may be exhausted. She may not want you to touch her. Like, there's so many things that can occur, and I know for guys we have that expectation. And then we're mad when those expectations aren't met. We get upset because we think we deserve or need that in the relationship, which isn't the case. And we all have false expectations when it comes to relationships. We all do. Girls included. I'm speaking for the guys because I am a guy. So I know what I expect sometimes falsely in a relationship. But not all expectations are bad. I think having high expectations is a good thing. There's going to be 5 that I'm going to give, but there's 5 things that I think we can expect in all relationships, especially if we're talking about dating. The first is that the speech or the words that they're saying is uplifting, encouraging, and builds others and not tears them down. If they're tearing other people down, they very well will do that in your relationship given enough time. You may not think that that will happen, but I promise you, give it enough time, and if they don't work on it and change themselves, it will occur in your relationship. Secondly, is their conduct. Make sure that they have receipts or examples of them having good conduct with people outside of you. The thing that we forget is when we get in a relationship, we want to do really good things for the other person because we like them. We want them to like us. So we act really good, we put on our best behavior, but if they're not doing the same thing outside of you, to their friends, to their family members, to the people around them, then you know that that's false. They're not showing you the good conduct that you want them to have. And then thirdly, one of the things we need to make sure is we have similar faiths, or that we believe in the same things. Because I promise you, if you've had a Christian that's come to you and you're a non-Christian or you don't believe in Christ, and you've had them say, hey, I can't date you, and they don't give a reason, I'm very sorry, because they do have a reason and they should have given it to you instead of leaving you in limbo or just dipping out with no reasoning given. The reason that a Christian can't date anyone outside of the Christian field or realm is because you guys believe in 2 different things. Your values are so different and so opposite a lot of times. Yeah, you can kind of morph or conform or do what you need to, but if they're really following what Christ says, he says not to, not because he doesn't want you to be with that person, but because he knows how hard it will be in the future if you stay together. Because if they're truly following Christ and the Bible, their values should look a little bit different than yours. Where they spend their money, what they give their money to, how they raise their kids, how they want their kids to be, and how they want their house to be in general will look either slightly or very different than what you believe it to be. So make sure you guys have similar faiths, similar beliefs. And then finally, fourthly, make sure that they have a good understanding of what love is, because love is very rarely just an emotion. Love is a decision that you make day in and day out. Whether life is tough, whether life is easy, whether it's good or it's bad, whether the person just made you really, really mad or is making you really, really happy. It doesn't matter where your emotions lie. Love, you decide every day. And you give it to that person regardless of where your emotional state may be. Lastly, is to make sure, as weird as it may sound, that they have purity. And I know that's weird because nowadays in the life that we live, purity is not really talked about, especially when it comes to relationships. And the reason I say that is, if you think about it, if someone is sleeping around before getting with you, don't expect them to be different. You can't change a person, only they can change themselves. And so if they're not being pure outside of your relationship before you guys get together, you can expect them to not be pure in the current relationship. Whether they're sleeping around, whether they're watching a lot of porn, whatever it is they're doing, it can harm your relationship even if it doesn't look like it's doing that in the moment. And I know that's weird, and I may get flack for it later, and I don't mind because it is so important to remain pure. But let's say you've already had sex. Let's say you've already done that in the past. The past is a past. You can change as a person. Moving forward and moving past that occurrence, you should be trying to remain pure for that next person, whatever that may look like for you. So again, in case you guys missed the 5, you want to make sure that you guys that the speech that the person is giving is good, that they're there to build people up with their words and not tear them down. Make sure that their conduct is good also, making sure that they treat others well, not just you because they like you, because that will change because your emotions are constantly changing. So make sure they're treating others well too. Third, make sure you guys believe in the same thing. If you don't believe in the same thing, it's going to be harder for you in life later on. It may seem easy now, but it will catch up with you if you don't believe in the same thing. Make sure that the other person, including yourself too, that you both have a good understanding of what love is, what it means, what's the purpose of it, and that it's not governed by your emotional state, but that it's a decision that you make every single day. And finally, make sure that you guys are remaining pure. Make sure that you don't have a receipt or examples of going with somebody, having sex, and leaving. That isn't someone good to jump into a relationship with until they change themselves. And that is possible. They can do that. And it doesn't mean that they're no longer able to date or be with someone. It just means make sure they've changed themselves before they jump into the relationship with you. Guys, this news helped me a lot throughout life, and I hope that it helps you too. I really want these advice to be for you and to help you in life. Definitely leave comments below about how you feel about what I've said, or questions if you may have questions about it. And if you want more examples for the girls, at least, what false expectations you guys may have, definitely look forward to the video that I'll be releasing of the next couples that I'll be interviewing. They'll talk about that, and the girl will speak on that so that we can see from both sides where these false expectations lie and what they did about it. Guys, thanks so much for watching this. I appreciate the support that you guys have been giving me. Make sure that if you want to watch the last couple that I interviewed and what they spoke about, maybe their expectations or the 5 questions I asked them, check out the small window where it'll show that video that you can click on. And then if you want to see why I started all of this, there's a link that will appear above me, and you can click on that and go watch why I'm so passionate about relationships and making sure that we have right ones. And finally, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so that you know when I release new content. And finally, again, leave comments below. I really want to see them, I want to read them, and I want to see where you guys are at after watching these videos. Reach out to me via social media. Again, my social will be linked in the description. By social, I mean social media, not my social security. You aren't getting that, sorry. But guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out.